Okay, we said we were going to do this, and somebody said they were going to remind me, and they forgot, and I forgot, so we're a little late, but it's okay, because here we are. So, first one, what is this equal to? Well, this is just a FOIL problem. It's a little funky, because there's no numbers, but that's okay. So we do first, x times y, it's xy. X times negative k, it's going to be negative, how do they put it? They put xk. Inner, we'll have negative ky, and then our last negative k times negative k will be positive k squared. And does that look like one of our answers? Yes, it does. Okay, that was easy. Number 18, simplify the expression and state all restrictions on the domain. Okay, so the first part of this is pretty easy. Simplify the expression. That means factor. So we factor our top part. What multiplies to 28 and adds to negative 11? So they're both going to have to be negative. And factors of 28, those are 7 and 4. That works, right? 7 plus 4 is 11. 7 times 4 is 28. On the denominator here, something that'll multiply to 21 and add to negative 4. Well, let's see. 7 and 3, that'll work. So if we say x minus 7 and x plus 3, so negative 7 plus 3 will be negative 4. This works. So the first part of this to simplify, x minus 7s will cancel out, so we get x minus 4, x plus 3. So it's either C or D. So it comes down to the second part. What are the restrictions on the domain? So the domain is x. It's saying what can't x be? And if we think about in a division problem, the only number in the whole world we can't divide by is 0. So we look what values for x will make this denominator equal 0. So we could use this one, but why do that when we have this one here? So we're saying we want to know what makes x minus 7 times x minus 3 equal 0. So we could say what makes x minus 7 equal 0? Well, that would be positive 7. And if this left term equals 0, 0 times whatever this is will equal 0. So x equaling 7, that can't work. Okay. And so that's probably going to be C, but let's try the other one. X minus 3. How do we make x minus 3 equal 0? It would be the same thing. We need x to be positive 3. Uh-oh. Oh, no, because this was supposed to be x plus 3 the whole time. So this should be x plus 3. This should be x minus 3. That was almost bad for a second. So our answer to this one is C. Okay. Alright. A lot of people are asking about this one. Diagram shows the top surface of a patio. What is this length of x? So this is a fancy problem. What it comes down to is we're missing this side here. And so we think, how can we find missing sides of shapes? And we think of some of the few formulas we really use in algebra as far as shapes, and that's dealing with right triangles. And if you don't see it, that's probably not good, but I don't know what to tell you. That's one of those things you just kind of have to look at it and be like, I can make triangles out of this. So then the question comes, what are our side lengths here? Well, if this entire side is 9, and we already have 5 here, that means that we're going to have 4 left over, because 4 plus 5 is 9. And then over here, if this is 13, and this is 21, then this side down here has to be the difference, so that's got to be 8. And then we're looking for the hypotenuse. So we go to our formula, a squared b squared is c squared. We fill in our numbers, so 4 squared plus 8 squared is c squared. So we get 16 plus 64, it's going to be 80. So then we just need to know what is the square root of 80. It's one of these three. So we look how we can break down the square root of 80. So let's see what sort of perfect squares we have. Well, it kind of gives us a hint. All of these have a 4 in them, which means if we take 4 squared, that's 16. So square root of 16 times what is 80? It's got to be 5. So that's going to give us 4 times the square root of 5. Yay. Alright, that's that. Next page. Katie rented a truck. Total rent was one-time fee of $40.75 for each mile. What is the total cost? So if it's 75 cents per mile, or for each mile, that's going to be multiplication. So that's going to be 0.75 times n, and well, that's the only one that looks like that. So there it is. Nice and easy. Don't divide. It's $40 just a one-time fee. You wouldn't multiply that times the number of miles. None of these other answers really make sense. Alright, Marcy data set for which the mean is 33. Each value in the data set is multiplied by 5. What is the mean for the new data set? Okay, so anytime you get a question like this and it tells you what the mean is, but it doesn't give you any of the data points, you can keep it nice and simple. And let's say we have only 3 data points and they're all 33. That would make our average 33, right? If we multiply all those by 5, we would get 165, 165, and 165. So our new average would be 165. There's lots of ways you can make this harder on yourselves, but don't do that. Just keep it simple. It's the KISS strategy. Keep it simple. Stupid. Okay, 21. Scatterplot best represents negative linear relationship. So it's got to be linear, so it can't be going up. Can't be going up. So that leaves A and D, and some people will say, well, both of those are negative, so which one is it? Well, the other key word we underline here is linear, which means if we connect all the points, it should make a straight line. This one here, this droopy waterfall looking thing, is not linear. So our answer has got to be A. Okay. Well, did I miss a bunch of questions? 21, 25, 20. Oh well. Hopefully those weren't questions. This table shows the number of cans played in the collection bin. 1 is randomly selected. What is the probability it'll be fruit or sauce? So here's what we want. Remember, anytime we do probability, it's the number of favorable outcomes divided by the number of possible outcomes. So we add up our favorable outcomes. 1359 plus 580 is 1359 plus 580. That's 1939. Divided by the total. So 1939 plus everything else, 2578 plus 1240 is 5,757. So 5757. And we just divide these out. So we get 1939 divided by 5757. We get 0.33680, whatever, who cares, it's close to 0.34. That's it, we're done. Which function represents linear? We did this in the last review. We look at the change in x. It's nice and easy, just plus 1. So really we're just looking for the change in y, which is plus 3. Since our change is 3 over 1, that's our slope, so slope's got to be 3x. And that's the only one with a slope of 3x. We could check it if we say 3 times, I don't know, 4 minus 5. Does that equal 7? 12 minus 5 does indeed equal 7. Okay. 27. Simplify this. Simplify in this case just means multiply. So 2x to the 4th times 3x to the 3rd. So 2 times 3 is 6. X to the 4th times x to the 3rd is x to the 7th. Okay, not so bad. 2x to the 4th times negative x squared, so it's going to be negative 2. X to the 4th times x squared is x to the 6th. And 2x to the 4th times 5x, so it's going to be 2 times 5 is 10. X to the 4 plus x to the 1 is x to the 5. And this looks an awful lot like answer C. Okay. Which equation best represents this line? So two things we need to know. We need to know slope and we need to know intercepts. So, well, intercept's going to be -7. It pretty much tells us that. And there it is. Okay. So that doesn't narrow anything down. So now we look at what is the slope. So we pick a couple points, 7, 0, that's 1. And this one looks like a point 2. So we look at our rise. It went up 3. And it went over 1, 2, 3, 4. Since our line is going downwards, we know that's got to be negative. So we have a slope of -3/4 and intercept of -7. That's that. Alright, getting close to the end. Marta buying a car from her sister. She makes an initial payment of $1,200. She agrees to pay $258 per month for n number of months. Okay. So again, she's paying $258 per month, right? Which means it's going to be 258 times. Wait, hold on. Let me read this question. Okay, I thought there might have been something sneaky here. So it's $258 per month, so she has to pay 258 times the number of months plus a down payment to get this total. It's really not the best equation for this, because if we want to know n months, you'd probably want to set it to, I don't know, n equal something. But whatever. So that's it. Okay. Graph represents function related to train's movement over time. Which function could this graph represent? So x is the time, y, or f of x is what we're trying to figure out. So what could this represent? So without even looking at the words, we can look at what is happening over time. So what is our rate here? So at our first minute, it's like 0.5. From our first minute to our second minute, it's like 1.5. From 2 to 3, it's 1, 2.5, 2.5. And from 3 to 4, it's, I don't know, 3, like 4. I don't know, whatever. But what we can see here is that our rate is increasing, which means something's getting more. So we look at our answer choices. The speed of the train as it decreases. Okay, don't want that. Speed of a train as it slows down, which seems like the same thing. Distance of a train from a station as it departs. Well, if you're accelerating, you're getting faster, so the rate at which you're moving away from the station would increase. That sounds pretty good. And distance of a train if it approaches at a constant speed. Well, if it was constant, it would be a straight line. So the only one that really makes sense here is H. Okay. 31. Which graph represents solution to the system? Alright. So we're looking to match these up to the lines. To do that, we probably want these in the form of y. So how can we get y by itself here? So if we take x minus y, if we move the y to the other, or the x to the other side rather, we'd get negative y is less than negative x. And we want to not have negative y, so if we divide everything by -1, we get y. We flip the sign here, is greater than x. So we're looking for a dotted line, because it's not equal to, dash line, or y is greater than x. So we have D that looks pretty good, and we have pretty much D that looks pretty good. This one has a graph of y equals x, but it's shaded below, indicating that would be y is less than x. So this is looking pretty good here. Wait, that's this one. No, I want D here. But just to be sure, let's check the bottom one. So if we have 3y minus 6x, that's going to be the same as 3y is greater than or equal to positive 6x. If we divide both sides by 3, we get y is greater than or equal to, it's a bad y, and it's not getting better. 6 divided by 3 is 2x, so y is greater than or equal to 2 times x. So let's check here. We can Can we zoom in on this? Of course we can. Somehow. That was a bad 200%. There we go. So 2x. So here's 0, 1, 2. So that's a rise of 2 over 1, 2 over 1, 2 over 1. It's still shaded above. Solid line indicating it's greater than or equal to. That's our answer here. Okay. Ugh, too big. That's too small. Oh, whatever. This is the last question. Let's get this done. Day of the concert, blah, 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 this happens. What is the effect on the mode? So if we need to know the changes in the mode, we need to know what the mode started at. So which number shows up the most? That's 4. Okay. Let's see. A decreased by 1, so that's going to become 2. F decreased by 3, that's going to become 2. Hey, guess what? Our new mode is 2. So to go from 4 to 2, that's a decrease of dose. And we're done. Don't forget to practice your factoring if you haven't already. Okay, good night.